All right. As y'all can see, this has got to be short. This has got to be a short stream tonight. I got work to do. I had a very busy day. I don't know if you guys can see, but I'm very tired. My day started out. The fire alarm in my building decided to go off. It's very early in the morning. And I was up since then. I am quite exhausted. I think I've been up for I don't want to say about 20 hours straight, so I'm just very, very tired right now with how things are just kind of going. I don't know if that's correct or not. I just know I've been up for a very, very, very long time, and much longer than I'm usually up. So I gotta get some work done. I gotta get to bed earlier and get some sleep because, again, I am very tired. But this stream's gonna be a little bit different. I think we kind of all know what this Bulls team is right now, and there's not really much to even discuss about this team. This team just flat out sucks. And I think we can all just kind of say, yeah, this team sucks, and we all know what's gonna happen. Hopefully, this offseason. Hopefully, everything that we've guessed about this team, or our kind of predictions about this team, is gonna actually come to fruition. Because I don't know if I can trust that right now. I don't think this Bulls team's making the playoffs. I think we all kind of agree on that. And we can legit just talk about the exact same thing over and over and over again about the lack of three-point shooting, the lack of scores, the lack of paint points, the lack of this and that. And, you know, I'll just go ahead and just quickly say this. Yikes for DeRozan and Levine tonight. I don't know what the hell was up with those two. I do appreciate Zach not turning the ball over, but he couldn't make a shot. And DeRozan couldn't make a shot literally until the fourth quarter. So the two stars decided not to show up tonight. And it's not like they were the only guys to not show up tonight, but obviously you need these two guys to show up every single night to even have a chance against any team. So these two guys not showing up tonight was not great. And then, you know, just as simple, the fact that the Milwaukee Bucks shot 46 threes and the Bulls shot 33. And I think that's the end of my analysis for today's game, because we all know the issue with this Bulls team is that they don't shoot threes, they don't get to the paint, they don't get to the free throw line. The Milwaukee Bucks, they shoot a bunch of threes. They're one of the best three-point shooting teams in the league. And just quick look at stats, and it's like, yeah, Bucks. So that's that. Interesting game. I'll just say that. It was a boring game, in my opinion. Just a lot of lull moments where just neither team could really score. And then we saw the Bucks go on that 15-0 run, and the game was over after that, because we know when the Bulls really get down hard or get down by a lot of points, it is very tough for them to even have a chance of coming back, because they don't shoot three-point shots. And, you know, this is just a game played heavily on the perimeter. As you can see, only 40 points for the Bulls in the paint and 38 points for the Milwaukee Bucks. So, you know, neither team really scores in the paint, but the other team that doesn't score in the paint, in the Bucks, they actually shoot the three ball. So you can see why the things kind of work out a little bit better for them. Okay, it's not a very good start for the day. Yeah, it's not. I'm very upset, but you know, I got through today. No shot, then proceeded to get destroyed by Porus and Coach Carter. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what happened today. Just odd game. Good game from Vucevic, but then, you know, Stacey King and his usual BS that he likes to go on. Like, he said, like, the Bulls went away from Nikola Vucevic in the second half. They stopped going to him. They stopped looking for him. He didn't get shots. He only scored 3 points. I'm like, Stacey King, Nikola Vucevic, by my account, got 8 shots in this second half. And most of those shots that he took were post-up looks or shots in the paint. Okay? I mean, I'm just, if we really need to look at the shot chart here, like, I don't know what Stacey King is exactly looking at. Like, look, he had shots in the paint where Stacey King wants them. He had some open 3-point shots. He made them in range. Congratulations, Nikola Vucevic. But it's just, again, I don't understand the Stacey King stuff. He truly is getting on my nerves right now, because it's like, he's saying the Bulls stopped going to him. They stopped playing through him. They stopped looking for him. That's the reason the offense got stagnant, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, Stacey, I actually think that Nikola Vucevic shot the ball more than Zach that second half. Maybe it's, no, okay, it looks to be about the same. No, Zach shot one more shot. But either way, it's like, Vooch went 1 for 8. Like, don't tell me that Vooch didn't get opportunities. He went 1 for 8. He just sucked in the second half, just as this entire Bulls team sucked in the second half. So, I don't know, man. I want to move on to next season just so badly. And we're going to discuss a few things in the stream about next season. So, this honestly, if you came for post game, this is my short post game. I honestly just don't want to talk about this team much more. So it's so bad right now. And you know, tonight just didn't help their case at all. So I truly hope that this is really showing out to Bulls fans that the offense is in pure garbage can, and this front office needs to make some serious changes, and Billy Donovan needs to adjust if he's going to stick around, because this is unacceptable. And look, man, I'm aware that the offense is probably not going to look good when DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine shoot a combine of 8 for 27, I believe. But it still doesn't really excuse the fact that we only put up 92, because teams have their star struggle and they put up more than 92 points. So 92 points, yeah, I'm just, it's so disgustingly bad. Hell, the Dallas Mavericks right now, they're in quarter number 3 and they have 90 points. It's so disgustingly bad. I see this game here, I'm aware, but the rest of the league is not like that. So just terrible stuff, terrible stuff tonight. And I want to move on to some other stuff that I want to really talk about with you guys, and to kind of discuss some things that's going to involve this Bulls team moving ahead, because there's a lot of stuff that we got to go through, that is going to be very interesting to kind of look at together, and I'm looking forward to it. So I want to start off with some of the CBA stuff. If you're not aware, the NBA Players Association and then the NBA Association, they were able to agree to a new collective bargaining agreement, a CBA. So obviously, if this was not agreed upon, we would be in a lockout until something was agreed upon. And the both sides, they were able to work out a deal. Now, I will say, I haven't read through everything, okay? All I'm really looking at are just kind of some tweets, from Bobby Marks, Woj, Shams, right? But I don't really know how I feel about this just yet. All I'm just going to say is I think the players got screwed, at least for what has been released. But we're going to talk about a few things that's going to really relate to the Bulls in this stream tonight, and I want to break it all down. Team kept looking for him. Vucevic passed up many of them. He passed up some shots, I agree, and then he also just missed some shots that I feel like he needs to make as a big man. So it is what it is. What's the show? I mean, he is our big, and he shot 42%. That's not very good by any means. He just wasn't supremely bad like Zach, who was stringing bad shooting games in a row, and DeMar DeRozan knows. I don't know what this was from DeRozan, man. This was just like, holy hell, DeRozan, you looked awful. Yeah, Zach, this was in terms of 3-point shooting wise, Zach's 3-point shot, I believe he's like two for his last 15 from 3. So this didn't look too good. Now the stuff that was concerning with Zach was that he was not making shots in the paint. Like I think honestly Brook Lopez had a serious effect on him, because it's mostly in the first half where you see these shots in the paint, and I'm like, hey, that's shots you usually make. So back-to-back nights, who knows what it really was, but yeah, it does kind of suck to see that from Zach. So I hope that he'll be better in the next game, and I'm gonna hope that DeMar's better next game too, honestly, just so that the season doesn't end on a very sour note, because we all kind of know it's going to. Yeah, can't wait for the video with Hayes tomorrow. Oh yeah, so if you guys aren't aware, actually let me pull this off screen here. So this has been kind of in the works for a little bit now, but I have been I've been talking with Hayes recently. If you're not aware who Hayes is, he is Chicago Bulls Central on YouTube. So this is Hayes's account, or YouTube account, okay? And today actually we filmed a video together today. This is something that's been in the works for a little bit now. Obviously scheduling, just kind of, things just weren't able to kind of get figured out as quickly. But as you can see here, this is a video that is going to be coming out tomorrow, okay? 2 o'clock Central Time tomorrow. I was able to kind of do what I like to do a lot, which is take some plays and really break it down on his channel. So if you guys could go support this video, and obviously go and support Hayes, when the video comes out tomorrow, because I truly appreciate what Hayes giving me this opportunity to do such a thing. And I really hope that, you know, it does well in the community, to kind of really break down why this Bulls offense really kind of sucks, but also talk about what the Bulls kind of have done post All-Star break that has been kind of at least a little bit successful, because the Bulls offense since the All-Star break has been better, and I give you some clips in here of why I think the Bulls offense was a little bit better, not great, but just at least a little bit better post All-Star break. So just a reminder, just go and check this out. This is, I think, a really cool video for people to watch, and it's gonna be on Hayes' channel here at Shy Bulls Central on YouTube. And then here's the video right here. I'll just go ahead and then I'll put the link in the description here if you guys want to go check it, want the link right now and then want to check it out later, which again, it's going to be premiering tomorrow at 2 o'clock Central Time. So yeah, MC season, I truly do appreciate that you're excited for that. I'm really excited to see how the fan base kind of reacts to it. I hope it's gonna go pretty well. Not really sure what I brings to this team anymore, at least with Billy's coaching. He seems to have gotten worse. So yeah, I will say that I am overall concerned about Io. I am truly concerned about him. If he doesn't get a 3-point shot, like we're looking at another guy that is unfortunately going to be one of those guys that is a defender on this team that can't shoot the 3-ball, right? The Javonte Greens, the Alex Carusos, the Derrick Jones Jr.'s, right? And I guess Derrick Jones Jr. was hitting his threes tonight. But right now with Io, like his best asset for this team right now is transition ball, right? If the Bulls get the ball off the glass and he gets the ball in open court, he is very good in transition. But that honestly is kind of where it ends. Defensively, he has taken a step back from last season. Last season, he was actually considered one of the best point of attack defenders in the NBA last season. That's not the case this year. I don't know where he ranks currently, but it's not where it was last season, obviously. So there's been definitely a little bit of regression. Again, I do think that Io is going to get better still, but as I've been kind of saying, I think that the Bulls are going to look to re-sign him, but it's going to be for very cheap. Okay, I've been saying kind of $5 million annually, and I honestly think that's kind of what he's going to get from this Bulls team. If we give out $5 million annually for a backup point guard, and I think Io, again, he's going to get better. I think his 3-point shot is going to go up from 31%. I think that's overall worth it. But you know, I did think that he had potential to be the starting point guard of this team in the future. That is out the window currently. So Io DeSumo is just kind of destined for a backup role. I'm cool keeping him around, but I'm also cool just not bringing him back if that has to happen. So it's not like, I guess overall when I kind of look at the numbers, like it's not entirely terrible, you know, because last season compared to this season, like the numbers are very, very similar in a sense. Like, you know, very similar points, very similar turnovers. Rebounding is basically the same. He's shooting close to 50%, but the 32% from 3 is the issue. And then, of course, when we compare it to Kobe White, again, 8.5 points, we have 9.5 points. So it's not entirely terrible, but it's definitely a regression. So there's stuff that he definitely needs to work on for this offseason, and we'll see if he is actually brought back or not. That'll be a big question. Let's see here. Disaster class by Amar tonight, especially third quarter. Oh, for sure. I mean, yeah. Billy Donovan made a mistake in that third quarter, letting DeMar and that group close it out, and then I thought he made a mistake in the fourth quarter when the game was, you know, just basically over and the Bucks made an extra run. So yeah. Plus, Beverly's offense is non-existent, and DeRozan and Levine don't drive to the basket or catch and shoot threes. Not sure what happened to them today. So I thought Zach was actually driving a lot to the basket tonight. And Zach had, I think, 1 3 that was a catch and shoot 3. But I think that just kind of shows you what's the problem with this roster, right? There is no playmaker on this roster, and for Zach LaVine to get the catch and shoot threes that everyone wants to talk about him getting catch and shoot threes with, which, you know, like he's definitely very good from catch and shoot for catch and shoot threes, but he's also very good in terms of pull ups. Okay, I don't want people just to think that he's only strictly a catch and shoot 3-point shooter. But again, it just kind of shows you that with the lack of playmaking on the roster, you're not going to have Zach shooting many catch and shoot threes. It's just strip isn't possible because he's the best driver on the team, and then he's also the best shooter on the team. Which again, that's not a terrible thing in general, but no one else attacks the rim. No one else playmakes on this team to the point where, like, you know, Zach, or I should say, no one has the ball penetration that Zach is able to do on this team. So I just really look at how terribly this team is constructed at the end of the day. Well, let's make sense. You got AC and Io, and you bring Beverly. The only thing he does extremely well is communicate and talk. There's 3 players that bring the exact same skill set on the court. AC, Bev, Io from best to worst are doing the same thing. No, I totally agree. Which again, I think someone's gone, right? Do you think Kobe will take a discount? I don't know yet. All I'm gonna say right now is that the offseason, because of the new contract bargaining agreement, the new CBA, things just got a little bit more interesting, right? And I wanna kind of talk about it, about how maybe Kobe could take a discount, maybe, right? Again, I don't know exactly how this is gonna work out, because there's gonna be some changes here that is gonna change how contracts are gonna be looked at, and I want to talk it through with you guys. Once again, though, let's just look at this NBA 2023 salary. Let's just do this. Salary cap space for the 2023 season, off season, I should say. Okay, we're gonna go to here. All right. Now, here's what we're looking at for this upcoming offseason, okay? These are the teams that are projected to have the money, right? This upcoming offseason. Now, this isn't perfect, right? Because when you actually look at this at the end of the day, this is not how it's going to work out, okay? For example, let's look at the Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls are ranked 14th. They could have $11 million in salary cap space if they legit release everybody and don't bring anybody back. That's also saying that they release all the cap holds on Kobe, Vucevic, Io, everybody, okay? And no one is brought back. So we all know that's not going to be the case, right? So, you know, for example, the Bulls, they're not going to have cap space this offseason, okay? Unless for some reason they decide to not bring back anybody that is a free agent this upcoming offseason. So this is kind of like, this is not exactly correct when I look at this, right? But one thing that I do look at, okay, is I guess I could press this. Yeah, this is a little bit better. Again, this is not perfect either, but the teams that have salary cap this offseason, okay, Rockets, Jazz, Pacers, Spurs, Detroit, and then the Orlando Magic a little bit, and that's not even that much, okay? I look at all these teams, right, and then I look at like the actual free agents available. There's just not a lot of like top tier free agents this upcoming offseason for obvious reasons, right? But there's not really many good teams that are actually have the salary cap space to go out and get some of these guys, right? So I don't really know how this is gonna really work, but at least in my head, here's what I'm thinking: with the bad teams having the salary cap space, I just think they're gonna go out and like get a bunch of veterans, and some of them honestly are probably not even gonna use the salary cap space for free agents. They're probably gonna use the salary cap space in trades, right? To take a poison pill contract for a first round pick in return, right? I mean, how many times did we see the teams do that before, where like the Brooklyn Nets, where they just ate up their salary cap space by taking on a bad contract, and then they would get a first round pick attached to it, right? That's what I think is going to really happen this offseason for these bad teams. So in all honesty, I just don't really see many teams out here that are like, yeah, we have salary cap space to spend and we're going to be spending it. So for a guy like Kobe White, who isn't exactly on like, many teams' lists for this upcoming offseason, I just don't really see him getting that much money. He's also restricted, which is going to seriously limit how much teams are going to want to actually offer him. So my opinion, I'm looking at around like it's going to be around 10 to 13 million dollars for him right now. Again, this could change, but at least this is kind of what I'm seeing annually, is about 10 to 13 million dollars. That's about mid-level exception, okay? And I think that's kind of where he's at least for now. He's younger, so maybe that gives him a slight edge. But at the same time, he's a bench player, so that also, kind of takes away a little bit. So again, 10 to 13 million dollars is what I'm saying right now. If it does get to 14, I'm still probably gonna be like, yeah, give it to him. If it gets to 15 though, that's where I seriously start considering that things are getting, that's a little bit iffy. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. One thing I do want to talk about, and this is not relating to the amount of money Kobe's gonna be getting, but specifically the amount of years he's gonna be able to get. Okay, so in the new CBA, there's a big change to rookie scale extensions. Okay, this is something that I think is very important for across the NBA, but this specifically is for this is specifically for a guy Kobe White, right? If you're not aware, basically rookie scale extensions, when it came to players that, for example, let's just take, for example, Mikal Bridges. Okay, Mikal Bridges, after his first 4 years in the NBA, the most amount of years that the Phoenix Suns could have gave him in a contract was 4 years. Okay, they could not sign Mikal Bridges to a 5-year contract because the only way to give a player coming off a rookie contract a 5-year deal is if you give him the max contract. Okay, so it limits teams to not being allowed to give them that 5th year on their contract, right? But that is suddenly changing, right? This upcoming offseason, that is, at least from what I'm understanding, that's going to go away. And now any player that is coming off a rookie scale contract is going to be able to get up to 5 years in their contracts and in their potential extension. So if you're wondering about Kobe White and if he's going to potentially, decide to take an offer sheet from another team or just decide to go right back to the Bulls in right now kind of have an upper edge for Kobe White and his free agency, which is that they can offer him a 5-year contract and potentially also maybe extend the money a little bit spread out more over those 5 years, right? I don't know how exactly that's going to work out because there could also be an argument to be made that teams don't want, or players don't want that 5th year, right? Because they actually want to hit free agency or unrestricted free agency specifically quicker. But there is then the other argument where some players, especially bench players, they're not really guaranteed anything, right? And so if they can lock in 5 years of guaranteed money, they probably take that, right? And they look at that as an absolute win so that they're guaranteed money for the next 5 seasons instead of only 4 seasons, right? And remember, the other thing too is this. Sometimes the only thing that they'll get offered is that 3-year deal plus then a team option on the 4th year, right? So it really, honestly, it's only like a 3-year deal for them. So adding this 5th year, it's interesting, right? This now allows the Chicago Bulls to give Kobe White a 5-year contract for this upcoming offseason. Does that, potentially make him want to stay longer or maybe accept a cheaper contract? I don't know. But because he is a bench player, I do think it's going to be something he's going to consider. Because if you think about it, the other teams that are going to be bidding for Kobe White, the most that they can offer him is a 4-year contract. Okay? So, yet again, the incumbent team is going to have that upper edge when it comes to when it comes to the player that is heading into free agency. And now, even it's for all players heading into free agency, even if they are coming off a rookie scale contract. So that's going to be a very interesting thing to look forward to, and see if it actually plays through. And maybe, honestly, the Bulls just give Kobe White a 5-year contract. And if it's for a reasonable price, I'm all for it. But obviously, I have a price set in my head, and I don't want to go past that and lock ourselves into a 5-year contract that's going to be very terrible. So yeah, this is something that I do think is interesting for us to kind of consider, because it does affect Kobe White this offseason, or it could affect Kobe White this offseason. So just want to let you guys know about that and talk it through with you guys, because this is some stuff that is being talked about. Let's see here. Zach came back to call to save his life, man. Man is driving tonight a little bit less than previous nights. He just want to get rewarded, get the calls. He should compare him and his free throw. Yeah, I mean, yeah. To Mr. Reeves from the Fakers, and that's all you need to know. Yep. There just doesn't seem to be enough ball movement from Zach. I agree. There's not a playmaker, but you got to ask what Billy is having them run. I mean, look, I'll just say this when it comes to Zach LaVine, I don't want him passing. Honestly, I only want him passing if it's like within the flow of the offense. I want Zach LaVine to think score first at all times. I truly do not want him to be thinking I got to play make for this team. Okay, for me, it's with Zach, it's look to score, and if it's not there, then you pass it. That's how it should always go. And it should not be Zach LaVine's responsibility to be making sure that the offense is, has a good amount of assists every single night. The Bulls offense, honestly, I think they had a pretty decent amount of assists. Like they had 28 assists tonight, and everyone talks about the magic 25 plus number, which I think is a complete fake number that people just made up. Like, the Bulls passed the ball well tonight. I don't know what people are honestly asking for. I just think that guys just didn't hit shots. I mean, you shot 43% from the field and 33% from three, yet you still got 28 assists. I don't think that's a very stagnant and only one-sided isolation type team. That's a team that passed the ball very well. They just couldn't hit shots tonight. Anyway, I give up. I also give up. It's okay. I think Kobe showed enough to secure the deal. Not gonna lie, his ceiling is probably a CJ McCollum. Oh, that's a bold statement. I think his ceiling is still Jordan Clarkson. I don't see Kobe White ever getting to a CJ McCollum type of player, but I can understand where you're coming from at the very least. But again, my biggest issue with Kobe is just consistency. I think people praised him for yesterday's game when I thought that he played terrible. And he goes through like a week of playing good, and then the next week it's like he's a no-show. So that's kind of my biggest issue with him. If he was just very consistent, right, I would be willing to give him like 15 million plus annually and even come off the bench. I'd be fine with it. But because of his inconsistency, I'm just hesitant to do such a thing. But either way, though, I do agree that I think the Bulls are going to be re-signing him this offseason, and we'll see what the number is. I think that Kobe is truly going to be testing his market. I'm also going to add this in there, right? I think Kobe, when we look at it, he's going to be really trying to see what his value is in the open market. And so I think he's going to he's not going to sign with the Bulls or as free agency opens, for example. So that's what I'm kind of looking at with Kobe. And we'll see how long it's going to take. So him and Ayo are going to be very interesting to look at, because if you're not, I don't know why people got this wrong, but they're both restricted free agents. Okay, for some reason people think Ayo's unrestricted, and I don't know why. I think it's honestly because of articles that are misinformed and just say the wrong stuff. But anyway, yeah, Ayo and Kobe, they're going to be restricted free agents, and that's going to limit how many teams are actually going to want to give them an offer, because obviously the Bulls can match any offer and just bring them right back. So we'll see what exactly their market is and how much they can get in restricted free agency, and then I think the Bulls just kind of assess from there. I think the Bulls are just kind of fully prepared to just let Kobe test it. If he gets paid too much, you just let him go. Unfortunately, as unfortunate as that sounds, I just don't think his value is that high, though. And then same thing with Ayo, honestly, but I think Ayo is going to return because I don't see many suitors for him at all this upcoming offseason. Think the potential outweighs the cost? I mean, sure. I just also am aware that this team needs more salary cap space moving forward, and I'm not going to be giving it to Kobe White. If he is asking for $17 million this offseason, that's a just straight up no for me, right? I'm not going to do it. Again, $17 million annually. It's just a big no. Just a straight up no for me. If he is asking for that and some team gives it to him, then it's just goodbye. And I think that's okay. We'll be all right if Kobe White decides if it doesn't end up working out. Again, I want him back, but I don't really even, I'm not like, gonna lose my mind if we don't bring him back. Don't even care to watch the Bulls anymore, just waiting for the offseason. I'm also at that point, I am just kind of waiting for the season to kind of end so I can really focus in on the playoffs and for some other teams. But also then, of course, talk about, the draft, potential deals that could be made, off-season acquisitions with you guys. So yeah, I'm also looking for just the off-season at this point. I'm still tuning into the games because I know I'm eventually going to miss it in the off-season. But yeah, I agree. It's getting to that point with this Bulls team. But we'll get an exciting, quote unquote, exciting playing game from these guys. Woohoo! Yeah. I expect the Bulls to lose that immediately. So I guess for all the people that again, if you're not aware, right now the Bulls actually could get like the 10th best odds technically in the lottery if they lose out the rest of this season. Like they could actually get the 10th best odds of getting the first overall pick. So for all the people that want that, I mean, I think this is kind of what you wanted tonight. So congratulations, you got your wish. I personally, I don't care about it. So that's not something I'm really looking at here. Other thing too is this. This is something that I am very interested to see what's going to happen here, because the NBA has decided that the luxury tax brackets, they're going to be different from this current CBA. Okay. Reading Tim Botem's tweet here. So the luxury tax brackets will increase at the same rate as the cap does, sources told Bobby Merckx and him. Since the current luxury tax system was implemented in 2011's CBA, the brackets have been fixed $5 million fixed to $5 million increments. Now they'll grow as the cap does. So basically, anytime the salary cap goes up, right, we're going to be seeing that the luxury tax brackets, they're also going to be going up. Now, if you're not aware of how the luxury tax brackets are, I'm going to pull up something that I think is that shows like a really good job of like explaining how exactly this works out. And it's basically this. Okay, if you look at this, we're looking at basically $5 million increments of each tax bracket, right? And then if you're not aware, each tax bracket, or the farther you go into the tax, like the higher tax bracket you go into, and then obviously when, for example, you hit this tax bracket, you're going to be paying much more. You're going to have a bigger fee in taxes if you're in this tax bracket compared to this tax bracket, right? The thing is, though, is that with this new CBA, that's going to go away, so that it's not going to be $5 million increments. I don't know exactly what the number is going to be. Like, is it going to be, $7 million increments or $10 million increments? But basically, the NBA is trying to eliminate, teams saying like, "Oh my God, we're paying so much money for just being a few dollars into the luxury tax." And I don't really know how to feel about this, because I honestly think this is giving the owners an excuse to not go farther and pay more into the luxury tax. I think this is honestly also just giving the owners a bigger excuse to just not pay the luxury tax. They could just be like, well, it's not worth paying this because we might as well pay this much money instead. So we're just not going to pay it. So I don't really like this personally, but we'll see how it plays out. The hope of this is that we see more teams willing to go into the luxury tax and farther into the luxury tax, because the tax brackets aren't going to hit you as hard because it's not going to come as frequently. But I question if that's actually going to happen. So, that's my biggest thing with this new CBA and this. So, for a team like the Chicago Bulls, I would hope that they would be more interested in looking to pay the tax with this, but obviously we know Jerry Reinsdorf is a piece of garbage, and that's probably not going to happen. So yeah, that's that. Give me 1 second here. I want to try something. I'm realizing my camera, my audio is not lining up correctly, and I want to go ahead and try to fix that. Okay, hold on. I made it very, very delayed. Give me 1 second here. What is... Okay, let's see. Sorry. I know. I have OCD sometimes with this stuff. I've been noticing it recently with the streams, and I don't really know what's happening with it, but it's whatever. So we're on Skokes. Well, that's the season. Oh, it's 100% the season. Yeah. It's tonight. The season's basically over. Obviously the Bulls, they made the play-in. Woohoo! But yeah, season's over. What's going on, Patrick? How you doing? Yeah, just going over some new collective bargaining stuff that relates to the Chicago Bulls and just also the NBA in general. Because I'm not I briefly talked about this game. I'm not that interested, honestly, to talk about the game, because this game was just hard to watch. So it is what it is, with this team. Can someone tell me in chat right now? So Patrick, I know you just got here, but can you tell me how my audio is compared to the video for the camera? Can you tell me if it's lined up, or if like the audio is delayed or the video's delayed? Can you tell me which one it is? Just so I can try to see if I can fix this. And honestly, it could be fine. Yep, ultimately just a very disheartening and uninspiring season. Bad cap space and no draft capital. This is going to be interesting. Well, yeah, I mean, obviously this offseason we don't have cap space. Kind of slight. Is the audio delayed or is it the video? Can you just make sure? Oh, video is delayed behind the. Okay, gotcha. Thank you. Appreciate it. I appreciate that a lot. I'm gonna try a fix here very quickly. Okay. So, as I said, like I do think that this offseason is going to be very interesting to look at because, yeah, we don't have cap space, right? Now, again, though, this offseason, in terms of free agents, I just don't think are very great. But what I do think, like, I genuinely think what could happen is that we're going to see DeRozan get traded here, and that's going to open up some opportunities, right? Where Bulls get draft capital back, not a lot, but at least some, in a DeRozan type deal, and then also just get some more players in return, and then potentially, it's not guaranteed, but potentially opening up some salary cap space to kind of go ahead and use. So yeah, we'll see how it all works out in the end when it comes to all this. Sorry, now it's saying I'm dropping frames, and I'm a little concerned about the stream. Give me 1 second here. I'm gonna change the music so you guys are not listening to silence as I try to make a fix here. I don't know why this is happening. This is like, it's actually like really bothering me. This is happening. All right, go ahead and listen to that here. Was our offense this bad last year? Like, did we have these problems last year? The offense last season was ranked 13th overall, but if you actually look at the offensive rating, it's very similar. Let's just go to NBA.com. The offensive rating last season, like, it's similar. So in my opinion, the Bulls had very similar issues last season, right? Lack of 3-point shooting, not getting to the paint enough, not a lot of free throws attempted, right? So this season, right, we see Bulls are down 24th. They're 112.9 offensive rating. Okay, let's go to 2021. Right, offensive rating, the Chicago Bulls 112.7. Right, it's very, very similar. The difference is that the offense this season, I mean, you can just kind of look around the league, right? We see so many players averaging over 30 points per game. And the offense this season has hit historic levels in terms of offensive rating. So the offense last season, it was, I guess, better in terms of overall rating, but honestly, it was probably worse. So you're just kind of seeing that it's a very, very, very similar thing to last season in total. Just out from seeing the new movie Air about Michael Jordan's shoe. Ooh, interesting. That's awesome. I want to go see that. Don't spoil anything for me, but how'd you like it? We were doing ISO more, but we were converting it at a higher level than this right now. We were definitely doing more ISO last season. I just think this season we were doing a lot more post-ups, and I'm losing my mind. And we're shooting more mid-range shots than ever, and it's disgusting to watch. The Bulls, I think in general, I'll have to double-check this actually. So I'll go back to last season. I think they averaged more 3-point shots. Nope, never mind, they didn't. I think. Actually, now I look at that, I think the Bulls actually averaged. Nope, they averaged the same. We're the exact same as last season. There you go. There's your answer. We averaged the same amount of 3-point shots last season as compared to this season. So no difference, honestly, when it comes to all that. Okay, hold on. I'm looking at my audio again, and I'm a little upset. Sorry, I'm sorry about the clapping, but I do that to help line up the audio. Test. Okay. Patrick and Box. How's the audio look now compared to the video? Did it get better? Is it more aligned or is it more disaligned? Is there a bigger gap? Wonder how quick the front office will start to make moves in the offseason. I think honestly it's gonna start at draft night. I don't think necessarily that like the guys on the roster are gonna get moved. But I can kind of see maybe like a pick being involved. Same for me. Maybe a little bit bigger gap than before. Okay, I see. Flip move follows up. Yeah. So I went and rewatched my recent streams, and I'm seeing this issue, and this is like the first time honestly that I'm seeing this issue to this extent. Like I know sometimes that like the audio and the video can get like really offset, and it just kind of happens during the stream, but then it'll fix itself. But for some reason it's not doing that today. Like it won't fix itself today, and I don't know why. Okay. Box and Patrick, how about now? Is it more aligned or is it more separated? I think I have eyes on two guys for the offseason, Naz Reid and Tyus Jones. I will say I do think Tyus Jones is, you know, I've been talking about him constantly, but Naz Reid, this is gonna be interesting to look at for a second here. Naz Reid, first off, I do like Naz Reid. I truly do like him. Only thing is that he is pretty short, but he does a pretty decent job. Still separated, almost the same as the last comment. Okay, gotcha. Okay, unfortunately this might just be something for this stream. I do apologize that it is this offset. I don't know why it's doing this. I'm changing a bunch of stuff here, but for some reason it's not. Oh wait, hold on. Okay. Test. Okay, I made one more fix, and I'm gonna try one more thing after this. So I do apologize about this, but what about right now? Is it still separated, or is it more separated, or is it closer? Let's see here. Okay, I'll talk about Naz Reid here. So Naz Reid, unfortunately, he just did have an injury. I believe it was a wrist injury. I think it's fixed. It's closer. Okay, gotcha. I appreciate it. Okay. All right. I made one last adjustment. Tell me if it looks egregious. Like, tell me if it's like a big separation between audio and the camera. I think it's aligned. Okay, cool, awesome. All right, I was glad I was able to figure that out. Cool, thank you, appreciate that a lot. So yeah, Naz Reid. If I'm not, I'm always forgetting this, unfortunately. I'm in baseball land, honestly, in my head. I'm watching the White Sox a ton. Let's see here. I believe it was Woj that tweeted out that am I just imagining things? I like distinctly remember that. Okay, I'll just look it up. Naz Reid injury. Let's look at it. Okay, injury update for Naz Reid from NBA.com. Suffered a left wrist injury, and I believe he got surgery, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he got surgery. Yeah. So This is something to just keep in mind, because I don't know how long he's gonna be sidelined. I know the Timberwolves are pushing for the playoffs here, so losing Naz Reid is a big blow to them. Now, can Naz Reid, for example, like let's say we move on from Vooch, right? What does this look like with Naz Reid? And if you're the Timberwolves, how much are you actually willing to give Naz Reid, because he's going to be a backup. He's going to be your backup, right? And this is kind of where I'm just like, I'd be willing to give him a decent amount. Oh, wait, let's see here. Naz Reid. So he's making this much money, like he's unrestricted, and obviously they're paying Rudy Gobert and Karl-Anthony Towns, right? Also Anthony Edwards. So I'd be down for this, even if he is going to come in and be like the starting center. I just have to be aware of his limitations, that he is not the biggest guy in the court, and so we're gonna have to somehow figure out a way to get some more size. And then I would ideally like Naz Reid to be a backup eventually, like maybe he can start next season and move to backup the next. But yeah, I mean I'd be all for it. But then obviously Tyus Jones, man, I've been saying Tyus Jones for a little bit. I know that you guys have also been saying Tyus Jones for a little bit too. And I do think that Tyus Jones, he's a guy that can be gotten through via trade and can come in and fix a decent amount of things in this Bulls offense. He won't fix everything, but he'll get this Bulls offense in the right direction. I just think it's a really, really solid idea. So we'll see if it's possible. Nothing's given though, right? I think if there's an easier guy to get, it would be Naz Reid, but I do think that Tyus Jones, if he is available via trade, go out and get him. I'm not sure if you watched Sox Day, but I did, because the Cubs got postponed and home put up for the Sox game. Was absolutely terrible. Tim Anderson got thrown out. Yeah, that was terrible. Yeah. Just so you know, Patrick, I am gonna refrain from talking about too much baseball on this channel. There's more stuff coming out about that later, but we'll talk on our own time about baseball, because I know that baseball season's in full swing. Yeah, Tyus Jones solves a lot of problems. He does solve a decent amount of problems. Yeah, pick and roll guy, rim percentile. Obviously playmaking for this team, a better ball handler that this team desperately needs, right? So yeah, there's gonna be a lot kind of going on if Tyus Jones is gonna be able to come here, but obviously you have to get him here, and that's a tough it's a tough ask, and who knows if it's even possible. So Unstoppable though, like, Unstoppable was asked, like, how quickly does the front office decide to make some moves here? Like, are they gonna wait until free agency's over, or are they gonna kind of just go right off the bat? And I honestly do think, like, Casey Johnson's article about the Blazers pick, right? I honestly think that this is like a legit possibility. And I think that this would be done either before the draft or on draft night, where you're going to see that the Trailblazers are going to trade the New York Knicks pick, which they own, right? The Portland Trailblazers, they own the New York Knicks pick for this season. It was in the Josh Hart trade, okay? And you're going to see that pick get sent to the Bulls, and then all the protections that are on the Blazers pick that was sent to the Bulls, they get lifted, and basically the Blazers get their pick back that they traded in a Larry Markkinen deal. But obviously, no matter what happened, like, the Bulls are gonna, if they wait out the process or just do it now, they want a first round pick, right? And most likely you'd get a first round pick. It's just a matter of when, and the Bulls probably want this pick now. So as we currently stand, I believe if the New York Knicks, if the Trailblazers trade that Knicks pick to us, I believe the pick is 23rd overall, which isn't bad, right? Like, I think that if we get that pick, right, that's not a terrible thing. People are saying it's a deep draft. I would like to add another player via the draft, especially with some of the new CBA rules coming in. So I personally would be all for it. Moving forward, is if we can get that pick on draft night, and then who knows, right? If you make that trade on draft night, then it might involve some other people, right? It could suddenly evolve into a 4-team trade, and it involves some of these other players. In my opinion, though, what you're probably going to see is, like, the days leading up to or the day of, and then like the first 5 days of the free agency period is when I think you're going to see some changes being made. So that's after the draft. That's like a good couple days after the draft, and then maybe a day or so before free agency starts, which is going to be July 1st typically, right? Or it might be June 30th, honestly. So I think that's kind of when the changes are going to happen, and then the Bulls are going to have some time in the offseason when free agency officially opens to fill out the rest of the roster and make sure that it's complete before the season gets into full swing. So that's what I think is going to happen. And when the changes happen, I don't really see too many players, if any, getting traded on draft night. But I do think right after draft night, there could be some changes being made. So be on the lookout for all that sort of stuff potentially coming into play here. All right. Other thing I want to talk about is this. Okay, I truly do not understand what is going on with this in-season tournament. Like, my initial reaction to this is very meh. Like, I don't really like it. I just don't understand this whole $500,000 per player thing. But then also they're saying that they're gonna have an in-season tournament that is gonna work with the games that are already being played, right? Like, I don't really get it. But I'm trying to be open to this. The players are obviously open to it, right? So they agreed to it, or maybe they weren't open to it, but they agreed to it. But in my head, I just, for the life of me, I don't get it. I don't really understand this too much, but I'm gonna keep an open mind to this. The only thing that I know is that it's gonna add maybe one extra game to the teams that make it to the very end, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe two, right? Which that's not terrible. I was worried about an in-season tournament where suddenly the players are playing 90 games, right? In a season. I just don't want that to happen. So, yeah, I don't know what the point of it if it's not like a mini cup for division. Yeah, that's also why I don't understand it. It's like, if it's just strictly just to pay extra money to players, I don't like that. Yeah, but then there's some other stuff here that I think is very interesting to look at for the CBA. Second tax apron. So this is gonna really change some things, okay? If you're not aware of how the salary cap already works with the tax apron, okay? Let's just look at the Chicago Bulls, for example, okay? So the Chicago Bulls for this season, okay? We're looking at a threshold, a luxury tax threshold of $150 million, right? Total taxable salaries is 149. Okay. Now, there is something though. Sorry. This is NBA luxury tax apron for 2022. Okay. So this number right here, $156 million. Okay. Which is $6 million compared to the threshold line. So if you're not aware how this works, the threshold line, if you hit or pass that threshold line, you're officially a tax team. But inside that line, there is a luxury tax apron, okay? And that's $156 million. Now, the teams that are below that number, $156 million, okay, they can use the non-taxpayer mid-level exception. They can do sign and trade, right? And they can use the biannual exception. The thing is, though, is that you cannot pass this number. If any of these moves makes you pass this number, it's not allowed to happen. If you ever use any of these three exceptions, the biannual, the non-taxpayer mid-level exception, or the sign and trade, then you are hard capped at $156 million. Okay. So no matter what, if you let's say you use your non-taxpayer mid-level exception this offseason, right? Then the team payroll cannot pass $156 million. Okay, you are hard capped, and in the NBA, there's not really a hard cap, right? But this is how a hard cap is implemented. But as you can see here, the NBA is going to be changing some things where there is going to be a second tax apron, and these are the teams that are very, very heavy into the tax, that are already past the first tax apron, right? So we're talking about the Golden State Warriors, the LA Clippers, the LA Lakers, right? these teams are now going to have a second tax apron that if whenever they reach it, okay, they are not allowed to use the taxpayer mid-level exception. And when we look at this, okay, mid-level exception for the NBA, there's differences, okay. Oh, whoops. Let's go to this one here. So the standard MLE, standard mid-level exception, this is the non-taxpayer. So I always put an NT, okay. Non-taxpayer mid-level exception is this much money. It's close to $11 million per year, okay. Now the thing is though is oh shoot. Here we go. Sorry, this is standard MLE, this is NT. Taxpayer mid-level exception, as you can see here, is about $6.5 million. Okay, so it's a significantly less amount of money per year, right? Room exception, don't worry about this yet. This is basically for a team that doesn't have salary, or that has salary cap space, okay, but doesn't want to use it. But as you can see here, the taxpayer mid-level exception, this is actually significant. So if you're not aware, the LA Clippers signing John Wall this past offseason, right? If this rule that is about to be implemented was already in play, John Wall would not have been able to sign with the LA Clippers this past offseason. Okay, same thing with Lonnie Walker for the LA Lakers, right? LA Lakers, they used the the taxpayer mid-level exception on Lonnie Walker. He would not have been able to do that if this rule is already in play, right? Or the Lakers would not have been able to sign Lonnie Walker to that much money if this was already in play, right? Golden State Warriors, Dante DiVincenzo, okay? So this is actually pretty significant, and this is also one of those things where I'm actually upset. Like, I don't understand this. In my opinion, this is something that is basically making the owners pay less money for their team when I want the owners to pay more money for their team, okay? I don't understand this personally, but we're going to see how this works out. Veteran extension limits will increase from 120% to 140%. This is actually pretty significant at the end of the day. You know how I've been saying with Jaylen Brown, for example, right? For the 2024 offseason, right? Whoops. Let's just go to this spot track. So with Jaylen Brown, okay, he's making $28 million, right? Under this current rule, if the Boston Celtics want to give Jaylen Brown a max contract extension, they have to wait until he hits free agency. Okay, they would not be able to give him an extension before his free agency is gonna happen, right? So like, for example, next season, ideally, if you're Boston, you give him that max contract before he hits free agency. But under the current rules, they can't. But because this new rule is going to be implemented, they now can. 140% of this number is basically a max contract. So basically, Jaylen Brown, he is going to be able to get offered a max contract extension before he hits free agency. So the Jaylen Brown to the Chicago Bulls is kind of, in 2024. It was already very small, but it just got even smaller thanks to this change. Now, when it comes to DeJounte Murray, though, this is where things are different. DeJounte Murray is getting paid significantly less money. So 140% of $17 million is obviously not a max contract. So if there is a guy that I would like the Bulls to go out and get, it would be DeJounte Murray. And also then this kind of applies to if, let's say, the Bulls decide to get DeJounte Murray, right? They would be able to offer him a contract extension that is much bigger that he could potentially accept. I would still think he would not accept it if the Bulls were to trade for him before he hits free agency, obviously. But who knows? So to me, this is a big thing. Like if, for some of these players that aren't on a very high rookie contract extension, but they play to a max level, they're able to just get it like that. And so the NBA is allowing teams this sort of flexibility, which I do like this personally. I think this is a good change. And the third thing that I also like this is that a third two-way contract via cap exception. So the teams are going to have the ability to not have to eat into their salary cap space and add a third two-way contract. So now you can carry 3 two-way players throughout the season, and there's going to be an exception written in so that you have the money to do so. I like this a lot. We've obviously seen a lot of players be able to two-way, create NBA careers because of it. So I personally think this is a good thing. But honestly, it just kind of ends where the good stuff is, right? I like the the no longer prohibited for marijuana stuff, but then I don't understand the whole gambling thing, where suddenly now you're allowed to gamble if you're an NBA player or something like that. I don't really understand that. The minimum number of games requirement, like, part of me was like, this is good, but then also part of me is just like, if a player gets only play 64 games and it's not their fault, right? That's gonna suck. The only reason why I'm like slightly leaning towards in favor of this one here is because I truly think that the NBA is having issues with making sure players play, but everyone's talking about like lowering the number of games per season, and I'm just like, look, if we lowered, let's say it's just randomly, like, let's just say we lower the games in a season to 70, okay? Suddenly then everyone's talking about load management being only 50 games, right? Then it's like, well, an NBA player, because of how many games you play in the season, they should only be playing 50 games. Like, that's what I think is going to happen if we lower the number of games per season. So, personally, this is the only reason why I'm like, I think this is good, but I'm also aware of how this can really create some issues. And also because there are contracts on the line with this sort of stuff. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to look at it. So part of me is like, this is good, but also part of me is like, yikes, this is gonna create a weird standard. And some players won't get the money that they deserve because of this. So it's a win-lose, unfortunately. Yeah. For example, in Europe, you got the national championship, the national cup, which is like a mini tourney throughout the year, and then you got EuroLeague with the champions. Yeah, which the NBA obviously can't do that, but I kind of get what you're saying. Having like a mid-season tournament that's at least for something, right? I guess the NBA sees how playoff games get a lot more viewers and decided to create a tournament for the money. I mean, great. I just don't think it's going to get watched that much, and I just don't understand the incentive. Yeah, prefer the hard cap like the NFL. Then you got the no cap like baseball, which sucks, and the middle ground of the NBA, which sucks too. The big markets will always win. Yeah, I think overall the big markets win, but then we see terrible owners like Jerry Reinsdorf, and then the big market like Chicago doesn't win. Yeah, unless the big market Chicago, in which case it doesn't really matter. We ain't paying. Yeah, if we get Tyus Jones, we'll look at if we get Tyus Jones, will we look at DeJounte? Both other contracts expire at the same time, right? So if we get Tyus Jones, in my opinion, we don't look at DeJounte personally. Yeah, they both expire at the exact same time. But I just feel like if we get Tyus Jones, there's no reason to look at DeJounte. Unless somehow you're gonna run a lineup of Jones, Murray, and Levine. I just think that is kind of overall small in terms of your perimeter players. I know DeJounte Murray is a good defender, but we know that Zach and Tyus Jones aren't exactly known to be great defenders. I still say that Tyus Jones is an underrated defender, but yeah, I don't know about that lineup. That just kind of scares me. So I think it's one or the other, right? I can actually see the Bulls actually going after DeJounte Murray this upcoming offseason, but I can also see them going after Tyus Jones. So it's one or the other. Obviously, DeJounte costs more. Tyus Jones will cost less. And you kind of figure it out from there. There are other options, obviously, in the 2024 offseason that we can look at. The thing is, though, is that if we trade for either DeJounte or Tyus Jones, I'm not really looking for the 2024 offseason to be kind of, we're looking at a lot of cap space. It's not going to be as much if we trade for either one of those guys. So just keep that in mind as well. If we trade for either one. So yeah, that's the NBA, at least what's been released about the CBA and some of the stuff. This is the part that I just don't understand. Like this stuff here. League's new collective bargaining agreement will give players the ability to invest in NBA, WNBA teams, which is like, okay, that's fine. But then this, as well as promote and invest in sports betting and cannabis companies, sources tell. Like, I'm fine with cannabis companies because, again, like I don't care where you put your money into companies, but this right here to me is very concerning. Like, I actually think we're gonna see some fixed games, and it's because of this right here. But that's just me. That doesn't really make much sense. Other just kind of overall looks at or changes that are very simple. 7.5% increase in the mid-level exception, which is good, right? So as you can see here, mid-level exception, this number is going to go up by 7.5%. That just gives teams more money to spend, which I think is a good thing. And then 30% increase to the room exception. Now, I said put the room exception on hold. As you can see here, the room exception is pretty small. So this number is going to go up by 30%, basically. I like that too. So that's another good decision. They decide to kind of smooth out the increase of the salary cap because there is a new TV deal coming in soon. So we're not going to see a big spike like we saw in 2016 and or was it 2017, where we saw like every single team had money to spend, and then they gave it to guys like Nicholas Batum, who got $72 million. So we're not going to see that, at least. So I think that's overall a good thing with this CBA. But I'm happy to see that there's going to be a 10% increase throughout each year. Like, that's good. That's really good. That's good news. Yeah. So that's just kind of just some looks at the new CBA. Again, the big new thing for that seriously relates to Chicago Bulls is the rookie contract extension, 5-year ability, right? The Bulls can now technically give Kobe White a 5-year contract offer this upcoming offseason, compared to that they can only, before the new CBA, they can only give him 4 years. So that is like the one kind of big thing that's going to really relate to the Chicago Bulls this offseason. And then, you know, there's other stuff that's going to relate eventually. We'll see how it eventually kind of all works itself out. Yeah. So, guys, some stuff I just want to talk with you guys about the new CBA. I have not fully read everything. The new CBA is going to be a big whole packet that is going to require reading. I'm not going to read the entire packet, but it's going to require some time for me to kind of adjust, and obviously for you guys to adjust too. So give me some time to kind of adjust to it. I'm going to try to explain everything to the best of my ability as I, absorb it and then try to figure it out and make it all make sense in my head. But yeah, there's going to definitely be some stuff that is going to be awkward and weird, but I hope it's going to work out. But there's just a lot of stuff that I just look at this team or this new CBA and I'm like, man, I think the players lost out on a lot and the owners got a lot, which is not a good thing. I want the owners to not get what they want, and I want the players to get what they want. So not great. That's all I'm going to say. But that is going to wrap up my stream for tonight. Now, before I do go, I do want to give one last shout out here to something that is going to be happening for tomorrow. Okay. If you're not aware, this is Chicago Bulls Central. His name is Hayes. He is also content creator for a lot of other things, and he has multiple channels. If you want to check out his other channels, it's all here. This is all him. Okay. But today I filmed a video with Hayes and Chicago Bulls Central, and it's going to be released tomorrow at 2 p.m. It's going to be premiering tomorrow at 2 o'clock Central Time. In this video, this is something that Hayes and I have been kind of working out for a little bit of time, but I pulled up some clips to kind of explain some of the good stuff that the Bulls offense has been doing since the All-Star break, but then also explain how terrible this Bulls offense has been just in general this season, and how they need to kind of change their ways and get to more modern play style. So it's going to be a very kind of in-depth kind of breakdown that I'm going to be doing on Hayes' channel. And I truly hope that you guys are going to enjoy it, and I just hope that the Bulls community is just going to enjoy this as well, because this is something that I am really excited for, and to see how it all works out in the Bulls community. But if you want to just have a link to the video, again, it's premiering at 2 o'clock tomorrow. Here's the link to the video, and you can set a reminder on your phone or whatever to remind you about the video and when it goes live. But again, that is going to happen tomorrow at 2 o'clock Central Time, and I'll be in the chat probably. We'll see. Not 100% sure. Yeah, that's that. All right. Like I said, though, that is going to wrap the stream. I do need to go do some homework, unfortunately. I am still in college, and I still got stuff to do. Actually, what time is it? Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. All right. Terrible Bulls lost tonight. Kind of, we kind of expected it, but also the season's pretty much over. Bulls are going to be in the play-in tournament soon. I believe the Bulls face Dallas next. So we'll see how that one goes. But 2 games left of this season, and then it's the play-in tournament, and then we'll get into the offseason. So we're almost there, guys. We're almost at the end of this very roller coaster of a ride of this season. All right, appreciate you guys a lot. Thank you for all the support. Hit the like button in the stream if you haven't already. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.